Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Suddhaspadiga Sankasham Shuddha Vidya Pradayakam Shuddham Purnam Chidanandam Sadashivamaham Shraye Shankarupena Machittam Pankikritam Abhodhyaya Kim Kariyasya Samaya Shankaracharya Mashraye Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Bharathi Karuna Patram Bharathi Padabhushanam Bharathi Padamarudham Bharathi Tirthamashraye Vidya Vinaya Sampannam Dhitaragam Vivekinam Vande Vedanta Tattvabodha Vidhushekara Bharatim Mala Sudha Kumbha Vibhoda Mudra Vidya Virajat Karavarijata Apara Karunya Sudham Purashim Sri Sharadambam Pranatosmi Nityam Om Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodho Bhidhiyate. Now we are discussing the very important topic Jīva Ātmā, Parama Ātmā, Aikyam, Tattvajnanam. That is what we are discussing. In the last class, we saw with an example of two reflecting mediums, one concave mirror, one convex mirror, and the reflected versions which we see our face reflected in these two mediums, how distorted images will create distorted versions. If we concentrate on the distorted versions, we will see only the differences between the original face and the distorted versions. On the other hand, if we remove the reflecting mediums, if we concentrate only on our original face, there will be no distortions. Therefore, we will have only one undistorted face, which is my face. So, we know, if we are able to understand this example very well, then the topic of Jīva Brahma Aikyam is also, we can compare, we can relatively easily understand the conceptual basis. The author says here, Evam Upadhi Vedat Jīveshvara Bheda Drishtihi Yavat Paryantam Tishtati Tavat Paryantam Janma Maranadi Rupa Samsaraha Na Nivartate Tasmat Karanat Na Jīveshvarayoho Bheda Buddhihi Svikarya. This is the teaching by the Acharya. Here the author points out as to why the human beings suffer in life. Sufferings are not caused by different events or different experiences. Sufferings are not caused by the planetary movements also, or the planetary positions also, like Rahu Dasha, Sani Payarchi, Guru Payarchi, etc. Sufferings are caused by the wrong vision, misconception we have based on the distorted versions of Jīva Ātmā and Parama Ātmā. Therefore, the author says, Evam, in this manner, Upadhi Bhedad, because of the differences in the reflecting mediums, that is, the difference belong to the mediums only. Upadhihi means medium. What type of mediums? The distorting mediums. Because of differences in the distorting mediums. Jīveshvara Bhedaha, there is a superficial difference which is not intrinsic nature. The differences are there, but they are only superficial. In the distorted versions, and they are termed as Jīva Ātmā and Parama Ātmā based on the distorted version 1 and 2. Differences are indeed experienced. We do not deny this fact. But the experienced differences are only superficial. They are not factual. Because your face does not become an elongated or a flattened face. They appear to be elongated or flattened because of the reflecting mirrors in front of you. You are not bothered about these differences because you know very well it is only distortion, it is not actual. The differences are only superficial. Therefore, the superficial differences between Jīva Ātmā and Parama Ātmā are not seriously taken or taken as factual. Unfortunately, the differences which are seeming differences are taken as actual differences by the Jīva Ātmā. That is why it is called drishtihi. Drishtihi means what? A wrong vision, wrong perception, misunderstanding, misconception. What is misconception here? Jīva Ātmā, Parama Ātmā, Vedaha is the misconception. Division is the misconception. Yavat paryantam tishtati. As long as this misconception continues in your life, tavat paryantam, so long this problem will continue. Now, this problem is external or internal. It is only my own problem. I have a problem, supposing I have a problem with my eyes, maybe due to cataract or some disease in the eyes. I am not able to see clearly. Therefore, I conclude that the bulb in the room is very dim, very dull. Therefore, I tell people to increase the wattage of the bulb. Rather than 60 watts bulb, I want people to have 100 watts or 200 watts bulb, because I feel that there is something wrong with the light in the room, because I do not know that the real problem lies with my eyes. Only on checking up, only after going to a specialist, then he tells that you have a cataract problem in your eyes. Therefore, the vision is blurred. Therefore, even the normal light appears dull and dim. So, the root cause of the problem is not with the power of the light, but it lies in the disease in my eyes. So, Vedanta says, problem is me, and therefore the solution is also me. There is no point in changing people, changing family members. Even if you try, you will be miserably failing in your attempt. We all know about it. Every one of us has got experience. Therefore, don't do that, because the problems are not lying with them. It is with us. There is no problem with the society. All these are struggle in the wrong direction. A solution attempted in the wrong direction can never succeed. That is why all human beings are unhappy throughout their lives, because they are adjusting the wrong knob. You know, in a radio there are two knobs. One is to change the frequency of the radio station, FM, AM and all those. The other one is the volume knob. If you want to adjust the volume, you have to adjust the corresponding knob. If you try to tweak the knob which belongs to the AM, FM meters, then you will not get the proper adjustment in the sound. The stations will keep changing. Therefore, don't attempt to change the wrong things. Author says, Tavat paryantam, as long as you don't touch the interior or inner knob, samsaraha na nivartate, human problems will never get solved. And how is it experienced? Janma maranadi rupaha, experienced in the form of repeated births and repeated deaths. It is not only death and birth, it is in between also. In between birth and death, we have all kinds of problems: old age, disease, separation from the near and dear ones. All these problems put together is called samsara. This is a cycle, samsara chakram. This will never go, and therefore what we should do? Don't attack the world. Don't try to tweak the wrong knob. Attack your misconception. Tasmat karanat. Because of that reason. That is, since the problem is your misconception and not with the external world or external people, other people, Bheda buddhihi na svikarya. Misconception of the division, misconception of plurality, the division between Jīva Ātmā and Parama Ātmā. This divisive aversion between Jīva Ātmā and Parama Ātmā, Jīveshvarayoho, Jivaha is Jīva Ātmā, distorted version 1, and Ishvara is Parama Ātmā, distorted version 2. Actually speaking, there is no division or distortion between these two. Na svikarya. Never you should entertain the differences. You should never see a difference. You should never see a distance between you and God. In religious terms, God. Greater the distance between you and the God, greater and deeper will be the samsara. Lesser the distance, lesser the samsara, and no distance, no samsara. It is very simple. No distance is called Aikyam. Now, how do I do that? How to change the misconception? How can I remove my distorted version, distorted vision? This is the question. The author himself deals with in the next portion. That we will see now. Nanu sahankarasya kinchignyasya jīvasya nirahankarasya sarvajñasya ishvarasya tattvamasi iti mahavakyat katham abheda buddhihi syad ubhayoho viruddha dharma krantatvat. It's a long sentence. The removal of the misconception in the form of Jīva Ātmā and Parama Ātmā bheda, that is division, and the distance between the individual and the God is attacked by the Vedic scriptures. Any misconception can go away only by right knowledge. And that is why whenever there is a doubt regarding anything, an enquiry commission is instituted. You can remove your doubt only by proper enquiry and confirmed knowledge. Unless and until you have appropriate knowledge, the confusion will continue, doubts will not get solved. So this misconception cannot go on its own. It cannot go by any other physical exercises also. It requires the intellectual inquiry, because misconception or misunderstanding is an intellectual problem. Therefore, solution also has to be intellectual only. Right knowledge alone can solve the problem. Therefore, our Vedic scriptures attempt to give the right knowledge regarding the relationship between Jīva Ātmā and Parama Ātmā. Are we really different and away from each other, or really speaking we are one and the same only? And that too, at end portion of the Veda, this teaching is given. Therefore, we call it Vedāntik Teaching. There alone, the Jīva Ātmā Parama Ātmā relationship is discussed, is inquired into, which is called Vedāntik inquiry. Vedanta teaches elaborately and systematically, and the culmination of the entire teaching of Vedanta is that Jīva Ātmā and Paramatma are really speaking one and the same original consciousness, the Ātmā. There is no difference in fact. Actually speaking, there is no difference. There is no second thing also. There is only one Ātmā. This is the culmination of the entire Vedantic teaching. The differences are seeming differences, superficial, apparent differences. We don't deny the superficial differences like two reflections in the mirrors. We accept that. Visible differences we do not deny. We only say the visible differences are superficial, they are non-factual, we say. This culminating statement which reveals the non-difference or oneness is called a Mahavakyam. In Vedantic statement which reveals the fact that Jīva Ātmā and Paramatma are one and the same is called a Mahavakyam. Bheda is negated. Bheda means differences. Differences are negated, and Abheda or Aikyam is revealed. Like any equation in mathematics, Mahavakyam can also be called a great equation. When do we use equation in mathematical problems? For example, we don't say phi equal to phi. Why? Because it is very obviously both are same. It is very evident. Left hand side phi, right hand side phi. There is no confusion. Phi is equal to phi. We don't say that. It is not, an equation is not required because they are evidently same. Now, can we say 8 is equal to 10? No, we cannot say 8 is equal to 10 because it is not true. 8 is not equal to 10, that we all know. Evidently they are different. Therefore the conclusion is, when two things are evidently different, equation is not possible. When two things are evidently the same, equation is not required. Whereas when two things are seemingly different but really equal, then we require a mathematical equation. For example, on the left hand side I have 3 plus 2. On the right hand side I have 6 minus 1. Because it is a simple arithmetic equation, we know left hand side equal to right hand side. 3 plus 2 equal to 6 minus 1, we know. When you superficially look at the equation, you are seeing differences. The differences are there in the numbers, in the signs also. On the left hand side 3 is there, 2 is there, plus sign is there. On the right hand side number 6 is there, 1, and there is a minus sign also. So how can they be equal? The eyes report differences, difference in terms of numbers and also differences in arithmetical signs. Therefore, left hand side, if you see on the face of it, we say it is not equal. Left hand side is not equal to right hand side. Eyes report superficial differences, and therefore a maths teacher is required to tell you that the differences are superficial only, but essentially the answer is phi, both sides are the same. You require an equal to sign to equate left hand side and right hand side. Similarly, if Jīva Ātmā and Paramatma are evidently identical, we don't need an equation because it is both are evidently same. If they are evidently different, equation is not possible. But when Jivatma and Paramatma are seemingly different because of incidental superficial differences and distortions caused by the reflecting mediums, micromedium and macromedium, but really speaking, both are one and the same Atma, pervading, all pervading consciousness, then we need a Vedantic teacher, Guru, to give the equation. What equation the Vedantic teacher gives? He gives Mahavakyam. In Vedanta Shastra, Mahavakyam is explaining Jivatma is none other than Paramatma. Jivatma is equal to Paramatma. This great equation is called Mahavakyam. In Vedantic Shastra, the most popular Mahavakyam is Tat Tvam Asi. There are hundreds of Mahavakyams in Vedas which gives this equation. But the most popular Mahavakyam occurs in Samaveda, in Chandogya Upanishad, section called Sadvidya, a very significant section. Here the teacher says Tat, which is nothing but Paramatma, cosmic intelligence, organizing the whole creation, maintaining the cosmic balance, maintaining the solar system, movement of the solar system, cosmic order, maintaining intelligence is called Tat Paramatma. We say in Tamil, Avanandri or Anuvum Asayadu. That Avan is Ishvara, Parameshwara. This cosmic unifying intelligence is called Tat Paramatma. Tvam is Jivatma, you the individual, the miserable individual, puny, tiny, struggling to organize a table, a small bookshelf properly. Forget about even maintaining, handling the family issues. It is very difficult. Office, we have a lot of issues, very difficult to manage an office. Therefore, this Jivatma is Tvam, and Asi is equal to you are. Therefore, the Mahavakyam says Tat Tvam Asi, meaning you, the Jivatma, the individual, or the Paramatma. You are the Paramatma. This Vakyam is also called Abheda Bodhaga Vakyam, Abheda Bodhaga Vakyam, or Aikyam Bodhaga Vakyam. That is equation which reveals the oneness of Jivatma and Paramatma. Now the student raises a question, what is natural, which is very naturally arising to everybody. In the first instance, when the teacher says you are equal to God, what will be the thought process in the minds of students? Oh, all these years, all these days I thought that I am a small, puny little individual. Bhagavan organizes the entire solar system, everything is being maintained. How can that be equal? How can I be equal to God? So, it must be the joke of the century. This is what the normal thought process will be in the student's mind. Or you may say the teacher must be mad. But out of respect for the teacher, we don't say that. Because the truth is unswallowable. Because the moment I think I and God, what comes to my mind? Not oneness, but all those differences come to my mind. At one instance, all the differences come. God is creator, I am the created one. God is all pervading, I am very small. All those things. How can I equate myself with Bhagavan? It is a sacrilege. It is a sin. This will be the thought of every Vedantic student. The moment the teacher tells Mahavakyam, this is what will happen. This is what the thought process which is going in the mind of the people. Therefore, the author puts the question here. Nanu. This indicates the students' protest, hoisting the black flag. The student thinks like this. His thinking process runs like this. Jīvasya kinchiknyasya sahankarasya. I, the Jiva, am of limited knowledge. That too, half the knowledge is not true, it's wrong knowledge, and another half is doubtful knowledge. Sahankarasya, endowed with strong individuality, my own peculiar attribute, which makes me different from all others. That is, individuality based limitation. Whereas Ishwarasya, Parama Ātmā, Ishvara is Sarvajñasya, omniscient, omnipotent, all-knowing, all-pervading. When the differences are so clear and so obvious, Katham abheda buddhi syad, how can I develop the vision of equality? Like the mathematical equation in the example, 3 plus 2 is equal to 6 minus 1. Tattvamasi iti mahavakyat. By listening to this great equation, how can I get the vision of oneness, equality? By listening to the great equation, Tattvamasi. This is the thinking which is going on in the mind of the student. I will be able to listen to the teaching of my teacher, but my intellect will not accept. It cannot swallow. Ubhayoho means both Jīva Ātmā and Parama Ātmā have Viruddha Dharma Akrantatvat. That is, both Jīva Ātmā and Parama Ātmā are endowed with opposite attributes. One is with superior, one is the other Jīva Ātmā with inferior attributes. Jīva Ātmā having inferior attribute, Parama Ātmā having superior attributes. Not even closer attributes, diagonally opposite attributes. Then how am I to accept these? Then the teacher says, "O student, I appreciate your point. I am not angry with you. I will tell you what I mean by Mahavakyam. What is my intention when I say Tattvamasi, Tat Tvam Asi? I will explain." The teacher solves the student's problem in the following statements, which we will see in the next class. One small point, in the session where I have discussed about the creation, I have shared 2 charts. One chart explaining how the Jagat have been created. Brahman plus Maya. From Maya, everything starts with the blessings of Brahman. Brahman does not do anything, but all changes are happening only in Maya. How the Sukshma Bhutani, everything starts with subtle elements. All those things are explained in very detailed manner in chart 1, and in chart 2 I try to explain how this Panchikaranam happens. That is grossification, subtle element becoming grossified elements. The process of Panchikaranam, which we have explained in earlier classes, I have tried to explain more in detail with the help of the chart. Please refer to this charts also, which will give more clear picture of creation and the Panchikaranam, which I feel is slightly confusing to people. At least for the beginners, it will be difficult to grasp. With the help of these charts, maybe it is slightly helpful. You can refer to these charts. The third chart we have already discussed about Jīva Brahma Aikyam. Therefore, I am not going in detail. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.